Hi, thank you for meeting with me today. Again, my name is Karen Ramirez, and I'm a licensed clinical social worker here at the Community Health Clinic. Before we begin our work together, I would like to go over some important points about confidentiality, specifically the limits of confidentiality and what that means for you. My goal is to make sure you feel informed and safe so that we can engage in the therapy process together with confidence. How does that sound? Good? Okay, great. If you ever feel like you need to stop me at any point, feel free to do so if you have any questions, okay? So I do want to tell you that everything that you share with me during our sessions, it is considered confidential, and that means that I won't share your personal information with anyone outside of this clinic without your permission. However, there are a few exceptions. Times when I'm legally and ethically required to involve others or make a report, especially when there are concerns about safety. And these are called limits of confidentiality. And I want to make sure that you understand each one clearly, okay? The first will be a situation if you ever tell me about a current or a recent abuse or neglect involving a child, an elderly person, or a dependent adult. In those cases, I'm legally required to make a report to the appropriate protective services. So this applies to whether you're the person experiencing harm or you're concerned about someone else's safety, okay? The purpose is to always protect vulnerable individuals from further harm. Do you have any questions about that? No? Okay. The second situation will be if you ever were to share information, if you ever were to share with me thoughts about harming yourself. I do want you to know that you can talk to me about those feelings. This is a safe space with no judgment, okay? So if I were to ever believe that there was an immediate risk to your safety, I may need to also make a report to help keep you safe. And that could mean contacting an emergency contact, mobile crisis, or just the local emergency services. If that ever happens, I'm going to try to do my best to include you in that process and explain every step. Okay? Does that make sense? Good? Yeah? Okay. And the third situation is if you share that you plan to harm someone else and that person is identifiable, meaning that I can reasonably figure out who that person is. In that case, I also have a legal duty to take steps to protect that individual, and that might include contacting them directly or just notifying law enforcement again. This applies only if there's a serious and immediate threat, and I will also keep you informed throughout that process. Any questions about that one? No? Okay. The last situation would be if your case becomes involved in the legal system. So, in some cases, a judge may issue a court order or a subpoena that requires me to legally release certain records or even testify in court. If that were to ever happen, I'm going to let you know as soon as possible and explain exactly what it is that I will be sharing so that you won't be surprised. And I also do want to mention that as part of our clinic's approach, I may consult with my colleagues. Like I mentioned in the beginning, I may consult with my colleagues or my supervisors to ensure that I'm providing you with the best care possible. And just want to reiterate that these conversations are kept confidential and within our treatment team, so it will never leave the clinic, and it will be shared only on a need to know basis. Are you okay with that? Yeah? Okay. Um, I know that was a lot of information and you don't have to remember all of it right now. What's important is that you understand your rights and when I may need to involve others or make a report to ensure your safety and those around you. If anything ever feels unclear now or at any point that we're working together, just please don't hesitate to ask. Um, I'm here to help you. I want this space to be one where you feel respected, empowered, understood, okay? I just want to say thank you for taking the time to go over this with me. Again, I do know that it was a lot, so I'm going to be providing you with some copies of our confidentiality and release forms, and you can go over them at your own pace. We can discuss it at the next session as well, okay? So I am looking forward to working with you and supporting you on your journey.